I'd make the cat mayor if we could.
Mate, step away from the car.
Yeah.
Or?
I don't know what on earth he's doing. He just walks up there, drops
Hang on,
it back in.
hang on, wait, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving.
He's kicking off.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
He's
And I
kicking
don't
off.
Stop moving
say
or I'm gonna
anything.
I'm
Bro,
gonna
he's not lying. I've seen him shoot someone. I've seen him do it.
Don't run in front of me.
I'm gonna
Don't.
hit it with a
Harry,
straight.
you want to go on patrol with us?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, shit.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Now that was a
What
fire.
is going on?
That's really embarrassing.
It's kicking off. Oh, my witnessing.
Oh my! Oh my god! Am I? He was feeding me before. Or trying to.
Even meat feeder. Got what was coming to. I need to get away. How do I escape?
Cats escape.
Ah, okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, alright.
I can't leave the gap. Oh no.
From Nickelodeon in my CK.
Luckily, she's my protector. I don't know her name, but I'm not gonna meow. I'm not gonna meow anymore.
Someone feed the cat.
This video is sponsored by the brand new survival game, Lost Rift. Lost Rift is a brand new first-person survival adventure shooter that blends co-op PvE base building with high-stakes multiplayer PvPvE expeditions. You can play solo or with a squad up to 5, gather resources and build your ultimate base, but also be ready to defend it. Then get out and explore, but watch out for storms, wildfires, creatures, raider attacks, and even other players. So make sure to craft some weapons or find some high-level guns. Go on expeditions, grab some loot, and then take it back to the safety of your base. Complete PvP and PvE quests with your friends on this new survival shooter, but don't get greedy or you risk losing it all. Lost Rift launched in early access on September 25th, so gather your friends and check it out now for a brand new survival challenge.
Get in, boys. No, it's not.
Get in. Open. Is it not?
Starting.
They found a car in the woods, and now I found them.
Oh, we could. Can we yoink the battery? No, I think you need a wrench to get the battery out.
Oh wait, I can get it. I can get it. I can get it. I can get it. Yeah. Just need to put this in the. Right, I got it. I got it.
You got the battery.
I've got the battery. Take the gun. Oh, there's a USG in here.
How are they not reacting to a cat?
Take the ammo. There's 2 in there.
They found a stash. I think they're too excited about
Taking
it.
all the
What
ammo,
else is
that
there?
makes sense for me.
I need this. This USG would be so good for me.
I've got the
can't fit
USG.
it.
Let's roll. Let's roll before we get shot. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yep, cat food. I should feed it.
I like this guy and the yellow bag. I'm never gonna stop chasing this guy in blue. Let's see what happens. he's realizing something ain't right with this cat.
You got the top actually, like, one of
Can someone go with me to the Volga? Yo, why is the cat gone? The cat stay.
next to this. The Colts.
Come out this.
Otis. Just give me a name, Otis.
How do you take the cat, bro? Because it's from the stakeholders cat.
Oh yeah.
It's following me. What was it? Come
Got
on.
one
Otis.
set up already, so you can build it from the bottom here.
Don't touch it.
Oh, that's
He
good.
doesn't know you like that. Come on, Otis.
And we could do one above the gate that would just always stay shut.
Right, where's he, where's he taking me?
We're going out of the village, man.
Come on.
How many people are involved in this?
I'm going home. It's okay, it's okay. Yeah.
Fuck, I missed Aegis. Fuck.
Me now. She's friendly. Yeah, I'm trying to get her some food.
Get out of the Yamaha.
You don't like all these people, do you? It's Otis.
Otis.
Yeah, it's Otis. It's gonna be okay, yeah? It's hearing me now. Just hearing me. Good job, Otis. I'm not even with these people. I'm trying to cause some carnage, you know? I tell you my trophy? Yeah, exactly, Otis. Yeah. I know, that's me. Oh, you're so cute. I'll make sure to give you belly rubs, okay? It's gonna be a little game. Otis? Otis, what are you doing? Who the f*** hype you? Huh?
Otis.
Wait.
My neighbor's Otis.
We're going back. We go to some rope, and then we do the whole... Jesus Christ, I need to get used to this. I didn't used to talk that way. Come on.
I'm a talking cat. I have to keep my secrets, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I will. I can't tell anyone because they want to keep you then too.
I trust you, human.
Otis.
Yeah. Trippy.
Stop hiding.
I won't.
Don't say that. Don't say that name.
Just see you murder someone.
Yes, I can do that. That's why I came here.
Let's find someone on their own, and then you can bash their brains in while they watch.
Yes, that sounds off. You understand me. It's hard to make friends, you know, but you just get it.
How cool does this guy feel? He's got a pet cat. It's like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She's got a little cat. This is kind of fun. He knows. He knows I'm a special cat. No one else knows. He's sneaky. It's much better having human help. It's a lot easier. I can actually come and go as I want.
I need to find someone weak.
Yes.
Somebody alone.
Yes.
Somebody people won't be missing.
Yes.
After I did the deed, run around. I'll come back for you, okay?
Okay. I'll be lurking in the grass.
So, what do you want to do
Cats
for
don't
work?
whistle around here.
Oh yes.
Bullets for my Pioneer and Vicar.
I don't have that.
Yeah, I've got it.
Hello.
Hello.
Taking a walk with my cat.
You got the nice asshole as well.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, yeah, like a normal cat.
It's not a cat. What the fuck?
Trying to lure people away so Trippy can... Oh, I can't do the gate.
Oh no, you're gonna let the cat out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I can lure him away. Why are there so many people invested in me?
You can do tricks too. Have you seen the tricks yet?
I've not seen him.
Oh, this is the guy. We've got him separate.
Wait, who's died here?
Oh, God. Oh no, someone else is here. Go away, everybody.
Oh look, he's dominating you.
No, I want to cuddle.
Yeah, sure.
The trick is to get one of them. This guy's super keen. For some reason, so is the other guy. Let's lure him away. Let's get Samra out.
You're gonna lose all the people. You're gonna be all alone.
Can't we bring Otis somehow? Not get back inside?
Well, you can just do that. Just follow it. See where it goes.
See where it goes. It's working, it's working. Where's the best place?
They're gone.
Bloody hard to get them on their own.
One of them. There's too many. You're too freaking cute.
They're obsessed with me.
Did you feed the cat yet? It's like nobody does that. Within the village.
You got. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, wait, I got some fish. Give it some fish. I really like it.
Thank you. Where's, oh.
Good boy. Good boy, Trivet.
Go, I'll be back. I need the shoes.
Run! Run! Oh my god. That was beautiful. I'm under his body at the moment. He's gonna wake up. He's only knocked out. He knocked him out, rubbed him, and ran away. He's back up. He's back up. Probably a bit dazed. Is he... You've been robbed, mate. He's going the wrong way.
I wanna tell you how competitive this is gonna be. Squeaks and I are doing a little warm-up practice. I watched. Neither of us can complete the game. We're stuck. Where? We're stuck right here.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. You guys can't beat the game.
I'm worried that we are not going to be able to beat the game.
No, come on.
Wait, Squeaks, you got it? All right, we'll figure it out live. We'll figure it out live. We'll figure it out live.
Look, guys, the people came here because they were excited to see Squeaks, Speedrunner of the Year, Birthday Boy, and Atrion, creator of the game.
Yes, hand-coded it.
Hand-coded it, go head-to-head. So, you know.
No, it's going to be competitive.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it'll be competitive here.
It might be the event of the tournament.
Many people are already calling it that.
But what you got to do for me, Level, you got to wake up.
I got to wake up.
You got to wake up.
You don't think I'm awoken?
The crowd wants you to get...
And we're going to get a third setup. It's a 1v1. What the fuck was that? Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen.
There we
Wait,
go.
can you guys hear Squeaks?
No, they can hear you. They didn't want to.
Can you hear Atrion? Oh, so they just muted Squeaks, not Atrion.
Yeah. You should keep that up.
Is it racism? I'm calling it. You should ask. So what's... Fellas, can I ask? What? What's the plan if neither of you can beat the game?
I don't know. This is going to be a problem. I've watched Squeaks do it 8 times and can't get the trick. And we don't know how to beat the game without this trick.
Can you get the trick? Wait, what do you mean?
I tried
the game. Just beat it normal.
No, but I've played it normal and so
I haven't
long.
played
I'm
it
not
normal
good
since
enough
the
to play
beginning.
this game normal. Oh, wait a second.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, it's not. No,
you didn't.
Oh, I know this trick.
How do you do it, Ludwig?
Don't ask Ludwig.
Hold
It's
on.
embarrassing. No, don't ask Ludwig. It's embarrassing.
If Ludwig does
If
it,
Ludwig does it first try,
Oh, this one's fucked up. This one is
did they like change something about it?
Wait, run through it real quick.
I don't think they change anything.
I'll
I think you're just washed, Unk.
It says you.
First off, you're both chunk.
I'm not chunk.
You're chunk beans.
What is it?
No, what the fuck? Ah!
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Not
I might
knowing
be
makes you
chop,
chunk.
but I ain't Unk.
Oh no.
Yeah, that one's really.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and about a week ago I talked about a musician known as David, an individual who had a body show up in the front of their Tesla while they were on tour. Now obviously that's a pretty hard-hitting introduction to go with, but yeah, this is actually a story that's been going on in Los Angeles for a couple weeks now. So for a quick recap, a decomposing female body was found in a Tesla that was registered in David's name. Now at the time when the body was found, the medical examiner could confirm that it was a female body, but was unable to determine the age, race, ethnicity due to the body being severely decomposed. And of course, as his body was found, David was, at the time, I believe, still on tour, throwing out even Labubu's for the world to grab. So of course, at the time, the only thing that could be identified on these bodies was apparently a tube top, black leggings, yellow metal bracelet, metal stud earrings, and of course, most importantly, a tattoo on a right index finger that said, "Shh." Now, according to the medical examiner, that's all that they found at the time. But of course, internet investigators also decided to jump in and found that that tattoo also belonged to our friend David. So of course, people looked closely at the tattoos on his hand and found matching tattoos there. Of course, that's not a smoking gun, but it's a coincidence that's going to lead into a whole different pile of coincidences that'll make people really wonder. But about a week after this body was found, the actual body was identified as a 15-year-old girl known as Celeste Rivas. Now, Celeste at the time was also apparently missing, and according to one of the posters that you could find, you can see that she was last seen in April 5th of 2024, and she was born in 2010. Putting her age at apparently her disappearance around 13. Now, of course, Celeste was 15 when she died, so she was apparently missing for quite a while. So, of course, people also started to look through more of David's social media posts, and there was a pretty alarming one that ended up coming out with them sitting together on a live stream.
I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of. Oh, I need a.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
So yeah, that was a pretty wild thing to be saying on camera. No joke about that. But also, it made me want to dig a little bit deeper because apparently this girl that went missing, who is clearly a minor and is interacting with this person who is actually a full-on adult. Now, of course, I've seen people argue the age gaps between them and saying that, oh, he's not much over 18. Here's the reality of it, okay? David's current age, if we want to look at it right now, is about the age of 20. He was born in 2005, according to, again, Wikipedia and all these birthday sites. So 20 years is let me preface this by saying, okay, this person is well into adulthood, and the age gap is not something like a 20-year-old with an 18-year-old or even a 19-year-old or whatever. It's 20 and somebody that is 15, okay? There's a pretty big difference between the two right here. So I just want to kind of nip that little bit of copium right here. Now, this Tesla, to revisit it again, was actually a Tesla that was found, I believe, on Doheny. So it was actually located in a pretty nice neighborhood of Los Angeles. And the car was then ticketed, it was then towed, obviously, and then once it was towed to a yard, the workers who were at the yard actually had said that a Tesla was emanating a foul odor and attracting flies. And once the car was then searched, the body was found apparently in the trunk of a Tesla. So it makes you wonder just how this body was even stored there, because the front of a Tesla is not it's not spacious enough, in my opinion at least, to be stashing a body, okay? Not that I would know how to necessarily do that, but just giving you my perspective of it. Anyways, the body was then found, and it was obviously severely decomposed. Now, obviously, at the time when this happened, I had two things that popped up in my head. Teslas are vehicles that have cameras pretty much everywhere, and usually those cameras are always rolling. So I was wondering if the LAPD could go to Tesla and subpoena that information through them, or maybe David, who was cooperating at the time, according to their spokesperson, could just provide that information. But then again, Teslas are not vehicles that record every single thing. Unless there's an accident, or you honk your horn, or you manually save videos, then something will be stored. And even then, it's always possible to delete the footage from your Tesla. It is also possible to somehow be lucky enough to recover that footage, even if it's deleted from a Tesla, but I'm starting to think that maybe that never existed to begin with. The other thing that ended up coming over here was, obviously, how the guy was still on tour at the time. A body is discovered in a car that is registered to your name, and yet he's still roaming free and performing. At the time, when I covered this last time, David wasn't even a suspect, and shockingly, at the time of recording this, he still isn't. Now, he had a residence that was searched there, items that were seized, and up about a week ago, there was actually tour dates you could see. In my previous video, you could literally still, from what I understand, purchase tickets to his show in Los Angeles. And I almost kind of considered it just to sort of see, not buy tickets to the show, but just sort of see if it was even gonna happen. But of course, at the time the shows were about to happen, he started canceling things in Seattle, and then of course, now the entire tour is canceled. Because yes, the whole death is making pretty big waves in the news. And obviously it should. It's a pretty mysterious situation, and one that I think we all really want to know the answer to. So ultimately, going down further into it, right, I'm still wondering what the truth could be here, because if it's actually this guy, right, because again, if this is a girl that is found in a car registered to him, a girl that he knew pretty seemingly well since they were apparently, allegedly, on stream together. The only thing I can think of is, you know, this girl died through the hands of somebody else close to this person, because at the time the story was reported, the vehicle apparently was accessed, or could have been accessed, by multiple people. And I'm sure the LAPD are now trying to time the movements of the vehicle with where David was, just to see if they can, you know, find a possible alibi or start ruling out possible alibis. Now, the other thing is, obviously, because the body was so severely decomposed, there are other aspects of the medical examination that still have yet to conclude. Things like, for instance, a toxicology report, which could show that Celeste may have OD'd, but that wouldn't necessarily explain if she did OD and die because of that OD, how she was found stashed into a vehicle long enough for her to be severely decomposed. There are still so many things that feel off and so many answers we still need. But the story almost feels like it's pieced together and investigated through the eyes of the internet long before the LAPD even has a chance to conclude or do anything. Now, before we go any further, I do want to establish something. Celeste was 15 at the time of her death, as reported. She knew David a bit before that, and as you can imagine, allegedly, she is a minor, and he is clearly an adult. Now, there were a few things that came out a couple days ago when it came to his friends even. Now, Celeste Rivas was believed by David's friends to be a 19-year-old USC student. Now, again, I looked at an image of this girl really quickly, and to be real with you, I don't know where this argument could come from. She very much looks like a young girl, okay? So for anybody in the David Copium camp, especially his friends, who were apparently really shocked to find out that she was underage, because apparently she was present at multiple age-restricted events. The friends told the publication that they frequently saw this couple together, and they believed they were romantically involved. Now, this is again the statements of his friends, okay? They thought this girl was clearly an 18, 19-year-old, and they also believed that they were romantically involved. Now, of course, you might be wondering, how the hell is she getting tattoos, Muda, and how is she getting into, you know, age-restricted venues? And that's because law enforcement agencies confirmed that Riva Hernandez had multiple fake IDs, which could have given the teen access into such events. So, yeah, it's something that happened. It's one of the reasons why you just have to be really careful. Even if somebody here's my rule of thumb, okay? If you look really young to the point where you have to be asked for an ID, you're just too young in general to be doing anything with, okay? Whether that be romantically, whether that be serving you a drink, whether that be doing anything that is typically age-locked for people over the age of 18 or 21. That's just that's how you stay safe. That's how you keep minors safe, okay? That's just good advice that I can give you freely in general. Now, of course, David's friends didn't know too much about her, and they only saw her with David at social events. So the thing that I have to kind of ask the friends in the circle too is like, you really thought she was 19? I mean, I've seen the photos. I think the world has seen the photos. She clearly looks young, okay? It's not a situation of, oh yeah, I could easily confuse the fucking 15-year-old with a 20-year-old. No. She is clearly too young. And that's one of the questions I really feel, the friends should have brought up. Now, of course, even a teacher, who apparently remains unidentified here, also acknowledged that when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in Los Angeles. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. Now, again, if this is necessarily true, and again, please take a lot of this stuff with almost a grain of salt as well. There's still things that are being confirmed, and there's still things that people are bringing into the story that, are unverified, and if we roll with unverified information, you could actually be damaging the case. But again, this is apparently somebody who claims to be a teacher at the school they taught Celeste at. And if any of this is true, it's a pretty damning admission that, at least it seems, law enforcement had some idea ahead of time about all of this going on. Or at least this relationship, which shouldn't have been legal. It shouldn't have happened. Now, from footage that was captured, apparently just after 7 a.m. on March 19, 2024 in Village Elsinore, California, which, remember, this is where Celeste was apparently disappearing from, there was footage that recently resurfaced of her absolutely being caught on CCTV camera. You can see, according to this footage, that would be Celeste, and of course, she was headed down and down and down and down and down until, of course, there's a liquor store. You can see her running this way. Now, the thing is, if she was returned in January 2024, you know, from Hollywood, that means the police have an understanding of this. So it's hard for me to not sort of look at all this and think to myself, is it even the LAPD or, you know, just law enforcement that also failed here as well, too? I mean, I'm not going to put blame on a young child, obviously, but, you know, sometimes when things are going rough, there's runaways. And the point of this is obviously that if there was a record established of where she could be going to, why was she just thinking, why wasn't this investigated beforehand? This is something that's so odd. Now, of course, the internet decided to go back and see when David had met Celeste. And apparently there are mentionings that she's about as young as 12 when they had actually met. Now remember, okay, these are all allegations, once again, but if you go back to her poster, remember that she was born in 2010. So you can kind of do the math when you see in the next set of video, or the photos that I show you, she really, the post she makes, you can kind of date how old she is at that time. So I believe her birthday is September of 2010. So again, one user on Reddit, on r/hiphopheads, 10 days ago, starts posting these Discord screenshots. Now, if you look at these Discord screenshots, obviously, one of the things that, again, I can't confirm this myself, but Celeste, David are together, allegedly in this screenshot together. But of course, if you look into the messages that have allegedly been grabbed from the Discords that David and Celeste were sitting in, you've got David going, Celeste in here, and of course, Celeste is going, hi, David. Now you can see over here that, you know, the days this is posted is in 2022. Yeah, here, I'll just do the quick little Jaguar math for you, okay? 12. So that's one of the reasons why people have been sort of throwing that specific number around. It just didn't spawn out of nowhere. It spawned out of, I believe, reasonable, you know, math being done on this Discord, okay? Or at least looking at the times these posts were made. And of course, you see people on the actual Discord allegedly going and saying he has a girlfriend. And of course, one user going, yeah, her name is Celeste. Now again, all of these are allegations, and these messages are, you know, the last time I even saw them, I've said the same thing. If you've watched me for a while, I have a policy that unless I can log into the server, which is Discord in this case, and refresh on camera, I always give an element of doubt to the veracity of these messages, but they've been widely shared around. And these are, again, the reasons why people are looking at the age of Celeste, or at least pinpointing it to be 12. Some have even went as young as 10, for instance. And of course, one of those users is on, you know, right here. She was 10, not 11, not 12, not 13. And of course, the reason they really do look at it was they looked at Celeste. They looked at, again, the actual, like, member join date, which was January 4th, 2021. She was 10 years old in January of 2021. He was 15. In fact, the date she joined the server was so close to the new year, I'm willing to bet they talked elsewhere outside of Fortnite before Discord, or knew each other, met online in 2020. Again, that is conjecture. But David, from what I understand, if we actually look at the join date for David, like, David was apparently quoted to be born March 28th here. So March, David would, yeah, I mean, you're looking at somebody that is 15 going on to 16 years of age. And it makes me wonder, like, what is a fucking 10-year-old and a 16 or 15-year-old even talking? Like, you are just two different types of people, okay? Like, you are, I'm sorry to say, it's just, it's a weird connection, all right? It is what it is, and I just wanted to point this out. Now, I hope that this girl is clearly in a far better place. I think ultimately there was a lot of people that failed her, not just David. But I personally don't think David is innocent in how he allegedly pursued this relationship with a minor, and it's definitely something I'm sure the LAPD is looking at, okay? Now, since I last talked about this story, David has had the tour canceled. Apparently, social media accounts have been sort of withering away. Posts are being deleted, and even his Reddit apparently turned out to have him moderating his Reddit, which is where a lot of this investigation started. Never a good chance to have somebody who is the target of an investigation, the person of interest, moderating the place where this discussion is taking place. So there was a lot of individuals just from TV Fandom Lounge, where again the Reddit moderation debacle raises eyebrows. In the middle of these developments, fans noticed unusual activity, where quite a few posts that raised concerns about the case and lyrics were removed. And since Burke is listed as the only moderator, users are accusing him of attempting to silence discussion. Again, I'm pretty sure if there was another moderator, I don't know if you as a user can pull like a mod audit or something on Discord, or not Discord, Reddit. But yeah, you can see over here that David, 14 hours ago, the mod who warned about the sub has been suspended and is no longer a mod. And of course, the post was deleted by mods too. What's up, guys? I finally have Reddit, which this is apparently an account, David Reddit. David's bitch ass is currently the only mod. David is currently the only mod on the sub. A mod got banned and another left. That leaves David's ass the only mod of the sub. Let's move to David 2. And that is exactly what the community and the investigators for this did. They went to David 2. And this is incredibly popular, to the point where it's got 52,000 weekly visitors, 17,000 weekly contributions. Again, people are really investigating this like crazy. And obviously they should be, right? If this is a chance for, again, a little girl to get justice, a little girl that died way too early in her prime. In her youth, really, not her prime, her youth. This needs to be solved. And again, they've built a convenient timeline for you to see. So mid-August 15-17, friends do lose contact with Celeste. August 8-9, David performs Dallas and Austin, Texas. Celeste accompanies him. Tesla's with them from Texas. Car had Texas plates. Neighbors said they hadn't seen that car for a while. And I'm sure there's sources that are going to be around here for you to see. But you can see that, you know, the fans, the investigators have put together a cogent timeline for the story. Now, for the official David Reddit, you might be wondering, whoa, does that have any communication going on in it? No, actually, it's completely restricted. So yeah, there is, again, no conversation happening over here, which is, again, incredibly suspicious. And I'm sure you can probably say, hey, there's some misinformation floating around, but look, this is the middle of an investigation, and at the end of the day, publicly, that just looks bad. Now, one of the people that have been investigating on this, even so far as to go to the actual location where the car was apparently towed from, and you can see that they found what appears to be a Tesla car. Now, one thing that I can say very clearly, and the comments have been rightfully hitting this, is if you ever find something like this, this is what we call possible evidence. Do not touch this with your fucking hands, brother, okay? You are possibly fucking up fingerprints here. You know what? I would just call the LAPD, tell them you found a high-profile piece of evidence. I'm sure they would gladly drive down to you and pick this shit up in an evidence bag, just so nothing is being destroyed. Now, from what I understand, the LAPD was contacted and this card was given, but it's definitely something that I'm sure the LAPD is going to try to match with the Tesla and see if it works. But yeah, it's just interesting to see it kind of thrown out here. So they say on the afternoon of August 27th, a parking enforcement officer marked the Tesla, noting the position of its tire. And then on September 3rd, the officer issued a citation to the Tesla for violating the 72-hour parking ordinance. And then the vehicle was impounded. So the reason why that is important, obviously, is because this body allegedly was sitting inside this car for a pretty long time. It starts to make sense on why things are severely decomposed, right? It's crazy to think, right? In an upscale neighborhood of Los Angeles, you can have a dead body just sitting in a car, and it takes quite a fair bit of time, literally until it gets impounded, or at least sent to a tow yard, before anything gets detected. It's just crazy. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of body composition. I'm not, a doctor or like a forensic expert here, but I'm sure that it can't be good for the evidence to be decomposing day after day. From my understanding, if there are any discoveries to be gathered from this, the coroner really doesn't have a whole lot of time to work together. Usually you want the body as fresh as you can so you can do all your determinations and start sending things into labs so you can start getting answers that you can then pass off to the detective. But the car was actually found incredibly close to the home that David was staying in. And the home that David stayed at was this mansion that wasn't really owned by him. It was actually rented by his manager, Josh Marshall, for about $20,000 a month. Yeah, I know. Imagine paying rent that high, right? Some people will pay insane amounts to live in Hollywood Hills, okay? I don't understand it, but it is what it is. The LAPD raids the house, and they actually took several articles from it, so I'm sure that's being examined closer. From what I understand, I think even like computers were grabbed, and I'm sure they're looking and subpoenaing a lot of his Discord records, just so they can also understand the connection that exists between David and Celeste. Like you can see right over here that the security system was placed at the entry and exit points, so realistically, you should not be able to, be entering or exiting this house without at least being caught on the security system. Now look, security systems can be fucked with. David, apparently according to the landlord, had the access, but I'm also sure that the security company that the, things work with can be, not investigated, but can be subpoenaed for that possible footage. But if David is so cooperative, hopefully he's already passed on that footage to the LAPD. And I'm sure they're going to be looking at the footage, maybe timing it up with once they get her, time of death, or exact specifications for what happened to Celeste, they can start lining dates and times up to either exonerate David or implicate him. It's just weird to me, though, that the car was apparently this close to the home, and it allegedly contained this body, right? Like, I sort of think to myself, listen, if there's some grandiose murder, and what people really do have to understand is David isn't caught because David is some mastermind. David is a 20-year-old, okay? This is not Dexter Morgan trying to hide a body. David is an individual that, is 20 years of age, okay? David is not somebody that has a whole lot of life experiences. Or really anybody around David isn't super duper smart. What really is the saving grace for him here is how decomposed that body is. The LAPD and David have both not made statements, which is weird because, I would express, or I would definitely expect some sort of like public remorse, or not remorse, but like public shock and sadness, maybe even proclaim a little bit of innocence, but it hasn't happened, right? The LAPD has been incredibly quiet about the situation, which I assume because of how high profile it's gotten that everyone is talking about it, that they're building together the most ironclad case that they can show in front of a grand jury down the road and absolutely nail whoever was behind this fucking heinous crime. Because at the end of the day, you really have to look at it, right? Like, it's a little girl that lost her life. And I personally think that every adult around her necessarily really just didn't... They failed her. They really did. There isn't a reason why a minor like this should have been allowed this much contact with somebody who has a clear power dynamic over her, somebody that is clearly older than her, and ultimately this is a young girl that should have had some monitoring going on with this connection, right? Like, it's not inherently illegal for an adult to hang out with a minor, right? But it definitely should raise a lot of red flags to people in the household, to family members, to individuals, that yes, my daughter or my little sister is hanging out with this fucking rapper from LA, and maybe I should keep some close tabs on them. So really, I feel like everyone failed this little girl. That really is what I'm thinking. Now, obviously, David is roaming around free, and I don't think it's because, he's necessarily somebody that is a super mastermind. He could absolutely be innocent, okay? There's a couple things that sort of ran into my head, and I'll theory craft just a little bit. There is possibly a chance that this girl might have been pregnant, and I'm sure that could have come out sometime, once the medical examiners have more of a chance to get some tests back. If she was pregnant, I have to imagine that in this entire story, for somebody who has such a budding career, look, he's already involved with what appears to be a minor. That's never going to be a good look. And let's assume that murder had happened. Let's assume that David did murder her, okay? Not saying that he did. It's not innocent until proven guilty. Very important mantra to keep. That could be a motive, right? The man was worried about his career, ices a young girl, and possibly, the child she's carrying, just so things never get out. Okay, that's a very heinous way to look at it. Okay, that's a very dark road to go down. There's another situation where, it played in my head that until we get a toxicology report, she might have OD'd on her drug. And because she OD'd on her drug, this is not something you wanted near you, especially as your career is blowing up. So get rid of the body. Or there could be something even more sinister. There could be a third person related in this situation that had access to this vehicle and had access to this girl, and that person wasn't David. There's a lot of things at play here, and these are the kind of theories that I'm assuming any LAPD detective is kind of coming up and talking about in their head and running through. But ultimately, these theories have to be substantiated with real, hard-hitting evidence, which is what I'm assuming the LAPD is kind of going on. There's people who are wondering that could David escape Could he private jet out of here? Look, with how high profile this case is, and the fact that people are up the LAPD's ass, there is no way this motherfucker is leaving the state of California, let alone Southern California, let alone LA County, okay? I think he's going to stay here until this is completely determined whether it's in his favor or not. Because let's say that dude tries leaving, okay? That's such a bad fucking look. So ultimately, he's going to have to stay, either face the music if he really is guilty, or get away scot-free once the LAPD finds that maybe he had nothing to do with it. But ultimately, the story is just wild, man. I mean, you know, you would think that it almost, I'm just going to say it right now, okay? I'm sure all of us are thinking it. The Netflix documentary that covers the story in 2 years will be fucking insane, okay? It is what it is. That's just how this thing sort of plays out. The mystery surrounding the story is something that is so unique in the sense that, you know, this is a high profile, you know, this is a up and coming like musician. I'm sorry if I mentioned the word rapper that sort of came in. I was just on r/hip-hop head, so it's just kind of like firing synapses that shouldn't be fired. But this is a high profile musician from LA. This is somebody that is, you know, whose career is, well, it was about to blow up. This is definitely a big hit against it. And it involves a little girl that, you know, was missing, but apparently, you know, you start looking at things even closer, and maybe she was just failed by the adults around her. She was somebody that was even investigated, or even, not investigated, but this was somebody that was like a known quantity, or at least even the LAPD had an understanding of this relationship before. And there's so many questions that have arisen from this. And the fact that he's still roaming free as I'm talking is another thing that's almost infuriating to people, right? Because a lot of people have already written this thing. But I'm just going to straight up say that there's definitely something deeper at play if he's still roaming free, or it's because the body is so severely decomposed that it is going to take some time for the LAPD to have a bit of evidence on them that is so ironclad that David could never even think of escaping from it. Remember, these agencies like to go for these high conviction rates. They want to be able to present a case in front of a grand jury, especially a high-profile case that leads in a conviction. Because let me tell you, if this girl doesn't get justice, there's going to be some hell to pay at the LAPD. That is for sure. And I don't think anybody wants that at the office. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it, dislike it.
So far, nobody knows anything.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and ladies and gentlemen, you know, I was gonna give $10,000 for you to find this image. I might just up it to $15,000. In fact, who cares? Let's actually go all the way. But today, it's not about throwing money at a search that really is the focus. It's about my interest for lost media content. I love lost media stuff, especially when it comes to things like video games. We've looked at stuff where, you know, people have modded Silent Hill versions of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, once previously thought lost, finally resurfacing and completely playable. We've looked at entire images, like the Backrooms, completely lost and forgotten at some point. But people have come together on the internet with their crazy internet detective skills, and using all of the data available, found out exactly where that was. But there is one image that is so elusive. It is Jeff the Killer, JTK1 and JTK2. Now the reason why this is so important to me is, obviously I started my channel on video game creepypastas, you know, things like haunted gaming, where I would look at spooky stories on the internet pertaining to video games and just talk about them. You know, some guy gets his weird spooky video game from Bootman Bill, or leaves it in a garage for 20 years, comes back and finds out that a ghost has infected it. But then, of course, beyond just video gaming creepypastas, some of the most popular spooky internet stories was obviously Jeff the Killer. Now, if you're looking at this incredibly long piece, Jeff the Killer has been around for, I would say, probably most of the internet, okay? Most of just that early, like mid-2000s internet, all the way to now, okay? Literally, if you go onto the internet, people still talk about it. People still share this image around. It is part of internet lore, and we can't ignore it. Now, obviously, if you ever read the original story, one of my first popular videos, I would say, like really popular, was like Jeff the Killer. I think I got like 600,000 views just basically with like video game footage of Dead Space and me just reading the story. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous, unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous, unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells a story. Now, of course, if you ever wonder why Jeff looks the way that he does, well, there's some actual explanation for it. And you can read it in the story for yourself, too. Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mom. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes! His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burnt out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mom? Aren't I beautiful? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, Jeff put them right to sleep. Now, of course, this is a pretty lengthy story, and you can read it for yourself, but the story is not so much the focal point for today's video. It's actually the actual search for the creepypasta. Now, a while back in the Lost Media Reddit, you could actually see that people were digging up, just constant archives from Japanese internet. Old Japanese internet that was thankfully, at least in some capacity, archived. And of course, as of 2 years ago, one of the first posts that I actually really saw in regards to the search of Jeff the Killer was obviously individuals linking this back to the investigation, which is where I found out about the JTK investigators that are actually still active to this day. So going into the old school internet and looking through image boards like this, especially for individuals that, for a lot of them aren't actually Japanese, has been kind of a tough endeavor. Mostly because internet that is this old, if you're looking at, again, dates as far back as 2007, people have been digging into old school Japanese internet and basically trying to find any form of actual file that exists. And day by day, those actual accounts do go down. Day by day, the data is slowly being lost. In a lot of cases, going into, again, pages like Hyro, old school Japanese forums, and basically finding all of these JPEGs and sifting through them one by one just to come across what could be the original image is where the search is effectively taken. Now, for the amount of researchers that are basically looking into this image, they've employed PCA analysis, deep investigations of these JPEG files to see, all of the information that they could actually extract from that original creepypasta image that's floating around. And using programs like HTTRAC, where not only are they finding old school websites, but they're downloading them and archiving them even further as they search for this project. Now, despite all of this, there has been a lot of real stuff, real leads rather, but there's also been a lot of stuff where people have just been mocking up or using artificial intelligence to generate fake images of Jeff the Killer, which is not only making the search more difficult, but it's also making the search nearly impossible the longer it goes on. Look, this is an internet cold case, and if it's one thing people got to know about cold cases, in most cases, the longer things go without any actual tangible, address, the harder it's going to be to eventually, come to deal. This might be an image that, I'm not joking, will probably be lost forever, okay? And I think a lot of researchers are coming to terms with it. So, of course, the original two images that people are looking at, these are the original two. So you've got JTK1, which is cute Jeff. Obviously, it's got a little bit of that Mr. Potato Head style going on. And then, of course, the image we all know as JTK2. So to give you an idea, some of the older ones was obviously, this image of a toddler, where again, even a Discord user comes in and claims, yeah, I was like 3 back then in 2007, and it just had this Photoshop onto the JTK background, which obviously shut this down, even though it's a pretty good contender. And I remember when I first put out my bounty, a lot of people sent me this image, and I had to basically say, listen guys, if it was this easy, I wouldn't just throw a bounty out there, okay, a 5-figure bounty. But of course, down the road, there was even more images, like this one. And this also caught my attention, but of course, obviously, the community was very quick to debunk it. And you can even see the fake image being spread as recently as 2022 on a forum known as 2chan. So of course, the further you go down, one of the leads was Katie Robinson, which was this character right over here, this person. And of course, that was also quickly debunked by the community, was them in this original photo. And of course, this is a Photoshop mock-up, which again, the community has said that was debunked in my video. And obviously, you can clearly tell this is bullshit. And of course, the longer you go down, it just becomes more embarrassing because the amount of AI stuff, the amount of like Photoshops and the amount of effort put into this has made trying to identify whoever Jeff the Killer really is that much more difficult. The more and more time goes on and the more people realize how they can just use AI to generate images has made this become an impossible goose chase. I will say, I do like this image of Tommy Wiseau in this case. I think that's probably the best mock-up that I've seen so far. And again, even fellow content creators and friends blame it on Jorge, for instance, who does a lot of lost media stuff, even had to dig up deleted Reddit pages, deleted Reddit posts, debunking some popular Photoshops that existed. Again, it's pretty clear to me that looking at this image, it's not the original in any capacity. And that's all I care about. I just want to see where one of the most infamous creepypasta images came from. And it's kind of sad that most of the stuff that I've seen is just created by the community as memes. Now, I said this bounty should probably go up, and I'm totally comfortable with putting more money down into it. Probably will just give somebody like 15k USD to try this, simply because I do just want to see where this goes down. But that money cannot be on the table if what I'm about to discuss is true. So one of the new things that have come out in the search is the possibility of this being from the capping community. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what the capping community is, get ready for some really spooky sides of the internet. So for instance, capping, of course, according to this Redditor, was actually coming up with the idea, right? I'm beginning to think the image may be a cap from a Cam Girl live stream. It's entirely possible that the original image is of a lewd act, such as boobs flashing or revealing. Cappers are notorious for targeting minors and underage individuals, which may mean the original image is CP and could very well have been confiscated by the government. Now, if the original image is in fact this, there is an unfortunate possibility that it still could exist out there. And if that is the case, it makes me pretty hesitant to put up a bounty, because ultimately I'm just paying for somebody to possibly find some form of, like, you know, CSAM material, which is not my goal, not my intention, not what I want at all. And of course, I can't stress that enough as I actually talk about it. But to give you an idea of what capping is, imagine if you were to go to sites like, Omegle doesn't really exist, but there's a lot of sites where you can randomly chat with people on the internet. And unfortunately, a lot of these sites don't do a lot of effort in verifying, you know, anybody that is over the age of 18 or under the age of 18. There's a mixture of minors and adults. So typically an adult will just have a screen sharing application recording the browser where all of this conversation is taking place. And unfortunately, if you're a minor and you show off something nude on your body, or you do actually send something nude, this person has recorded it, and they're unfortunately sharing it. Now, you might have remembered a girl known as Amanda Todd, an individual who died a long time ago. They committed like actual suicide. They were bullied. Actually, not just bullied, but they were blackmailed by basically having a topless photo of her, and they would leak it to their friends unless she would give the blackmailer a show. And this was not only so disgusting, but there was an entire, like, channel on YouTube known as The Daily Capper, where, again, they had this, like, crudely animated evil woman basically talking about the capping community and just promoting it out loud. YouTube, if you thought it was wild now, it was a lot fucking wilder back in the day, especially if content like this existed. And obviously, this channel doesn't exist anymore. There's great documentaries on it by Creepy Chronicles, Nick Crowley. Now, a lot of people have discussed that maybe this is a situation that was only happening in North America, but unfortunately, even further looks into this has shown that there are communities of this that exist in Japan, of places, right? Like, this was happening internationally, maybe not to the same level, but these kind of disgusting freaks basically permeate every single kind of community, every single culture, every single place. So it's not outlandish to think that this couldn't happen in Japan. And if it did, you know, ultimately, this image, if it turns out to actually be CSAM, which would be an incredibly hard runtime, makes it effectively a search worth dropping. Now, obviously, as far as the legitimate legal research goes into it, the document is up to 43 pages at this point, with tons of image analysis, analysis of forums, and various other YouTubers that are still looking for this image as well. So for a lot of people that are looking into chance, for instance, they're actually looking at the way images are compressed. So for instance, depending on how images are processed, that leads people to believe that it might be on boards like Futaba or 4chan, simply because they're comparing it to other images and seeing just how images are processed. No website usually takes a raw image and just puts it up, usually to save server costs or, you know, to save space. The image is, you know, obviously compressed, down processed, just so that you can minimize the amount of storage it takes up. Similar to how YouTube does it. Obviously, if I send YouTube a 10 gigabyte file of a video, that video then probably gets compressed
enemies
down
are tanky.
to a few hundred megabytes, maybe a gig, depending on what quality you're watching a video on, and just to
Jesus
save
Christ.
storage, you know, capacity, and obviously to control bandwidth. Now, of course, one of the most popular unconfirmed theories right now is one of Mariko or Susan, where obviously this woman over here looks relatively similar, obviously, to Jeff the Killer. And of course, we've kind of discussed her story as well. Now, she was found through a user on the Discord searching for this known as Eat Raw Skin. Cute name. So of course, looking at this Mariko, for instance, right, they went down, and it was intriguing because she was a net idol, she had an info seat stage, and unfortunately she had a lot of bullying, and of course she had a boyfriend, Souza Kamada. Now, Souza used to promote the site all around the internet, and of course it turns out that their relationship was pretty unstable, and of course Souza posted pictures of Mariko, and it's not clear whether she even consented to having her image out there in the first place, which adds another layer of problematic behavior to searching for this image, right? You know, if you're ignoring all the tapping stuff, which shouldn't, because again, how sensitive that stuff is, just a woman that's even of age, if she's not consenting to her stuff out there, it kind of feels a little shitty to go
No
down
way.
the road and you know, dig up an image, right? Like, usually you want this kind of stuff to be lighthearted, but it seems like some of the theories involved in this entire story come from places that, you know, obviously, if consent's not there, I think the search it's kind of a tough ethical thing to go down, but that's just me. So you've got other characters like Hajuri, for instance, you've got Nachi, you've got Kogedombo, you've got a bunch of characters that are actually unconfirmed rumors into this, right? But for every unconfirmed rumor, there's a lot of debunked rumors as well, too. Like the Katie Robinson rumor that actually came out pretty early. Katie Robinson, obviously from the chat log we read earlier, is actually an individual known as Heather White, who was even interviewed by a user researching and confirmed that her story was fake. Now, of course, in this entire process, too, as I even went out here 2 years ago, one of the chief investigators, Juventhal, was actually just downloading 53 gigabytes of images, at least off of like the Wayback Machine, based on what it is. Bonus points, by the way, for that sick Linux Mint usage. And of course, the download and search doesn't end over here. Tons of automated tools, the actual like proper investigatory work or archival work has been going on into the story, where again, Juventhal, you know, God bless, has been putting every bit of effort into preserving as much, and just to have the ability for the researchers to look through. And if you're wondering how dead is this, it's actually not. The researching behind this is actually pretty active. People are not only researching for Jeff the Killer, but they're coming across other images, like this one, for instance, from the old school early 2000s Japanese internet, that actually had me a little bit freaked out. I want to know the origin of this image even too. But these guys are active. They're looking for an image that probably will be long lost to time. And sometimes I wonder what will happen even after this image kind of comes out. You know what I mean? Like, what next in the search for obscure internet creepypastas? But where it's making the search even harder too, not just beyond some of the theories which may lead to this image possibly being illegal, is also the efforts of the archival community. For instance, a lot of amazing tools used for this, one of the best resources has been the Wayback Machine, has been the Internet Archive. And unfortunately, you know, other big platforms like Reddit, for instance, is now deciding to block the Internet Archive.
Oh, I'm dead.
It's actually becoming pretty scary on how archival of the internet is becoming, simply because of the advent of AI and a lot of these companies withholding their information, social media platforms like Reddit, just so they can keep their training data so they can sell to other parties. Ultimately, it makes archival so much more difficult, and for a search that already has us going so far back into a time when the Internet Archive wasn't even considered, this is making the search dramatically more difficult. Arguably, if this actually comes to fruition and we do find the origin of this image, hopefully not from that capping community like I discussed earlier, and hopefully not not a non-consensual image that was posted, I think it'll break the internet easily. This might be bigger, in my opinion, than fucking the back rooms or really anything. I mean, this is one of the OG creepypasta images. And ultimately, I want this shit to be found. And I want it found first and foremost on the best of intentions. Because ultimately, it's just been something that's been in my head for years now. For a long time, okay? Arguably, I don't care so much about the Jeff the Killer story. It's kind of cringe. I do care about where the fuck the image came from. It almost feels like every form of media attached to a creepypasta has been found or seen, but not Jeff the Killer. So ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it, dislike it. I want to say that I'm losing some hope, but I don't know. I think deep down it will be found. I think deep down this search may end up coming to nothing. And let's say it doesn't. I'd say for a few years, I think it definitely built a community of friends that will be around for a long time, especially in the search investigation community. And maybe their efforts could even be put towards other spooky avenues that frankly have a bit more, maybe they're just not as cold as this. Anyways, that said, if you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe, just like it up. Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and oh, we got some deep web drama today, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I love about the internet sometimes is like, you can always find insane controversies in like places where you actually least expected it to, okay? And when it comes to the deep web, this is something that I didn't even know was a thing until a few days ago. What I'm talking about today is a United States versus Conrad Rockenhouse. They might be like, who is this Conrad Rockenhouse fella, Mudahar? So a few days ago on r/Tor, there was an account known as Ad0. Now this account belongs to a user known as Adrienne Rockenhouse, which is obviously the wife of Conrad. So here she writes, my husband Conrad is wrongly incarcerated in a county jail. I'm posting this here because you are one of the few communities that will understand the full technical and political reality of how he ended up there. My husband is a former Tor operator, and at one point, he ran some of the fastest relays and exit nodes in the world. The nightmare began when he refused to help the FBI decrypt traffic from his exit nodes. So to give you an idea of what happens here, right, ladies and gentlemen, I care a lot about internet censorship and our right to free speech, and I think a lot of people just have that belief in general. But to give you an idea, to keep those freedoms, it's not free. It's not something that, just exists. You have to constantly fight for it. What happened over here was apparently the FBI couldn't get her husband to decrypt those nodes. So they told the judge he used his graphics driver to access the dark web and jailed him pre-trial for 3 years. Now this story isn't like a one-side win situation. It actually gets pretty complicated. So I want you to kind of stick with me here. But to give you an idea, I love the deep web. I've browsed it for years. I've made tons of hours of content. I would actually probably wager that out of all of the online content creators that cover the deep web, I probably statistically have the most hours of footage out there. I'm not saying this is a flex, I've just browsed it for years. And one of the things about my deep web browsing series, if you've actually ever watched it, is that generally I like to show that the deep web isn't this like spooky place the media has made it out to be, where red room torture sessions are everywhere even though those easily exist on real platforms, like real clear web areas. It's not like a haven for child molesters, even though there are lots of them out there. In fact, a lot of the places you can find on the deep web are actually just goofy websites, you know, these kind of like edgy websites where everyone pretends to be an assassin or whatnot. In fact, I would say most, if I had to percent my deep web browsing series, maybe like 80% of it is just goofy laughs, and the other 20% is this mystery, like spooky horror that the media makes it out to be. But the important thing about the deep web is, ultimately, it is the most important tool for people that need privacy and anonymity, people that are journalists in dangerous parts of the world, people that are oppressed by their regimes where they can't exercise free speech. You and I can basically say whatever the fuck we want on the internet if you live in North America, within reason, of course, as long as we're not putting out violent calls to actions. You and I can say whatever the fuck we want. Granted, not everyone will like our speech. Maybe the government won't even like our speech. But we are free to say it. There are parts of the world where you do not have the freedom, which is why Tor is such an important thing. Now, to give you an idea really quickly, ladies and gentlemen, Tor is not something that sort of came out of nowhere. To give you an idea, the Glowies were the ones that came up with it. Tor was a product of the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory, part of the United States Navy, where they developed the Onion Router, which is a general approach to securing the routing and traffic flow information for network communications by separating identification of network location from routing. So basically, this is how the government decided and designed a way for us to anonymously communicate with each other over the internet through the Tor network. Now, the way that Tor works in its anonymity is basically producing a crowd large enough for everyone to hide into. If Tor consisted of 10 people maximum, it would be pretty easy to identify who the fuck those 10 people are after a while. But because Tor has millions of users, anybody that runs a exit node or any kind of node is actually a pretty important person to the Tor network. So here they write, the Tor network strength comes from its thousands of global volunteers who run the relays that form its backbone. This is not just an ideological choice, it is essential to the network security. When running an exit relay, it carries potential risks. It is a legal activity in the US, and these volunteers are the reason the network functions. So when an American intelligence officer, soldier, or diplomat uses Tor from a hostile foreign territory, their safety depends entirely on their internet traffic. If you run a node, there's a good chance that someone in your nation, if you're an American, has probably been saved because of your actions, okay? Now, I'm not here to do the America needs you to run a Tor relay, because the story that I'm about to share with you can possibly make it a very scary effort. So to go back to Brockenhouse, this is a set of footage that's been uploaded by his wife that recently got posted on the internet for you to watch. So if you go to Adrian's channel right now, you'll notice that in the last 2 weeks, a lot of videos have been posted. So for instance, he is a disabled veteran, and that is his wife, so I assume that's Adrian. And at this point in time, they're just like sort of chilling, they're minding their own business, they're in their fucking house. And here you can see that the Suburbans roll up with what appear to be U.S. Marshal Services. So you can see that they're actually going to get out of their vehicle at this point. They have their hands completely up, okay? And again, you got federal agents ready, pistols drawn, everything is good to go. These people are, without a doubt, absolutely complying. And it gets even scarier, because according to the wife, there was a point where canine units were threatened, and he was actually physically assaulted, according to her. Now, if you look at more of the footage, what's interesting about it, too, is obviously these federal agents don't exactly appear to be completely threatened. Like, yeah, some of them have their guns drawn. Some of them are just walking around, basically looking at the house. None of these people feel like they're actually in a clear and present danger. At least, that's what it appears to be through this footage.
For violent federal. We hold him. He knows what it's for. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He violated people because he's an adult. The warrant isn't for you. The warrant is to search his property. There is to a warrant. What is the warrant for? From his probation officer. For violent federal.
What's the name?
I don't know. It's a federal probation warrant.
I understand. I just
Now, immediately over here, when I'm looking at this argument, the words that I'm picking out are federal probation. And I want you guys to remember that word going in forward, right? Obviously, you know, for me just looking at this footage, I think personally the U.S. Marshals are being a bit too heavy-handed, considering that there really, again, doesn't seem to be any clear and present danger at this home. It seems like maybe what they're doing here, the Marshals